Celebrity facts you didn't know. Michael Jackson. In the 1960s, Michael's father, Joe Jackson, wanted to teach his kids a lesson about leaving the windows open at night. So when little Michael was asleep, his father climbed through a window wearing a mask and screamed at him. From that point, Michael would have reoccurring nightmares about being kidnapped in his bedroom. Next, Michael had a meeting scheduled at the top of one of the Twin Towers on 9/11. But after talking with his mom on the phone all night, he overslept and missed his appointments. In the 1990s, Michael was planning on buying Marvel jointly with Stan Lee, but the deal fell through. Later, Stan Lee came out to say that Michael was planning on producing a Spider-Man film, and he believed Michael himself wanted to star as Spider-Man. In 2003, a supermarket was completely shut down so that Michael could live out his lifelong dream of shopping like an ordinary person. All the other shoppers were either actors or his friends, and they paid absolutely no attention to Michael. He played around the store like a child and even compared the experience to going to Disneyland. The video for Michael Jackson's song Scream, starring him and his sister, still holds the record for the most expensive music video of all time. The video was budgeted to be a $7 million video, but he ended up dishing out over $10 million when it was completed. Now, how many of these facts do you think we will see in the Michael Jackson biopic? 12 more.
DoorDash girl Olivia Henderson has been indicted for posting the naked customer video on her TikTok page. Initially, she pled not guilty. However, the grand jury deemed that she was guilty. Her next court appearance is set for June, so we're still like a month away from that. But I don't think she's getting off easy on this. This is sad for her too, because all she had to do was mind her business in this situation and literally leave the food on the porch. But she didn't, and she went inside and filmed the guy half naked in his own home. To make matters even worse for those that don't know, she went online saying that she got essayed by this guy and reported to DoorDash. DoorDash investigated, found that that was not true, and then fired her, and then she crashed out. And she didn't just peek inside the door was cracked open. She fully went inside and recorded this guy. And like I said, the instructions on the delivery said to just leave it at the porch. She should have just listened, minded her own business, and she literally would not have faced any of these charges. She could have lived her life peacefully. Now it's going to be hard for her to even find a job after this with a criminal record. This is not good. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I think she might get sentenced to like probation or some other stuff like that. I don't think she's getting a crazy sentence. I think maybe like a couple years in prison, if anything. But my guess is community service and probation and stuff like that.
The absolute dumbest names in nature. So there are about 117 million lakes on Earth, and given that there are so many lakes and so many different languages, lakes have literally been named the most random thing. Like, here's this lake in Canada named Another Lake, and right beside it is another lake. Yeah, whoever named Another Lake and Another Lake really just gave up. However, since Canada has the most lakes out of any other country, they literally just ran out of lake names. Because there's My Lake, Stupid Lake, there's Air Lake, there's Miserable Lake, there's This Man's Lake, there's That Man's Lake, there's The Other Man's Lake, and yeah, there's No Man's Lake. Canada has given up on naming lakes. Oh, and to prove that they literally have ran out of names, I want you all to go on Google Maps, then search up your name, then put Canada and lake after that, and 9 out of 10 times they will have a lake named after you. Which is cool and all, but I don't think any name will ever beat the pond named James Pond.
There's a case in Texas that was cold for 34 years, and a class of college students maybe cracked it in 6 weeks. In 1991, the body of Cynthia Gonzalez was found in a creek bed in a rural part of Johnson County, Texas. Now, whoever killed Cynthia left almost no evidence behind, but the police did know one thing, and that's that Cynthia ran an adult entertainment business and she was on her way to meet a client the night that she was murdered. Now, this is coming from a really comprehensive deep dive I just did on this case for the Heart Starts Pounding podcast, but for years, police were looking into men in Cynthia's life to find who could be responsible. But everyone kept coming back cleared. They even looked into a local serial killer operating in the area. Eventually, the case went cold until a forensics class at the University of Texas Arlington got their hands on the case files. Now, Arlington police didn't really have enough officers to go through all the cold cases in their files, so they reached out to this class to help them. It was kind of a class exercise and kind of a, hey, we actually need your help. And within 6 weeks, this class noticed something in the case files that was completely overlooked by police 30 years ago. And that's that someone had confessed to Cynthia's murder multiple times, but it wasn't a man, it was a woman. One that was very close to Cynthia's boyfriend. There are a lot of twists and turns in this whole case, and there's a big deep dive that I just did on the Heart Starts Pounding podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
To avoid possible contamination through the air, please keep shelter in your residence until further notice. If you are a resident of King County, please stand by for further updates.
They were so hungry that they ate her with potatoes. 16-year-old Karina was from Russia and she was dating 20-year-old Maxim, who was the lead singer of his band. She was so in love with him that she would sneak around to see him so that her mom wouldn't catch her. On this specific day, Karina told her mom that she was going to be spending the night at a friend's house so that she could study, when in reality she was going to be spending the night at her boyfriend's house. Her mom told her it was fine, but that she needed to be back home by 7 a.m. the next morning, but sadly that wouldn't be the case. In January of 2009, Maxim and his friends decided that they were going to host a party at his house, and Karina wanted to be there and spend the night. During the night of that party, everything seemed like it was going well. It was a lot of fun, and one of Maxim's roommates named Ekaterina was going to walk to her bedroom to go to sleep when she noticed that Maxim and Karina went into the bathroom together. After a while, she started to hear splashes of water and noise, but didn't think too much of it. A while later, Ekaterina woke up and noticed that they were still in the bathroom, so she decided she was going to check in on them to make sure that they were okay. And as she was walking towards that bathroom, another friend named Yuri told her that she wouldn't want to go in there. Ekaterina figured that nothing serious was going on, so she just went back to bed. Next day, Ekaterina arrived home from work. Maxim and Yuri offered her some meat and potatoes, so she ate her meal and didn't have any complaints. But this meat wasn't any kind of ordinary meat. It was the meat of Karina. The night before, Maxim and Yuri had put Karina in the bathtub, drowned her, and once she was deceased, they chopped her up, cooked her meat, and prepared it as a meal. Eventually, Maxim and Yuri were caught, and when they were interrogated, they were asked on why they even did this in the first place, and they stated it was because they were drunk and hungry. The rest of Karina's body parts were placed in plastic bags and scattered around the city. Maxim and Yuri were arrested and charged with Karina's murder.
Yup, this is it for us, as the rich are now eating biblical mermaids and they are starting a war we cannot finish. People were terrified after a fisherman, Landon, went viral for exposing that he reeled in something that turned his face pale white, describing the creature as biblical as it was not only 5 feet tall, gray, had gills all over its face, but half human looking, and it's exactly as the biblical verses describe. And it's happening all over Hollywood right now, hiding in plain sight, and their bodies are being stored inside the celebrity mansions. But it gets worse, as Landon describes huge fishing companies that are marketed as finding exotic fish are actually dedicated to hunting this, using sonar equipment to find mermaids, and their human-shaped bodies are being used for dinner. With the Book of Enoch at 19:2 calling mermaids our fallen angels, and modern Hollywood often being referred to as demonic, many have referred to when demons start eating angels, it will be over for all of us very soon. And if we never hear from Landon again, we will all know he was telling the truth.
These are the rules of Giraffe Fight Club, except for the first one, cause we already broke it. Giraffes are like baseball players, where they have a preference between swinging their necks to the left or to the right, and giraffes will spar with respect to that preference. Let me cook. Let's say 2 giraffes, two southpaws square up. They'll line up head to tail, that way both fighters can practice swinging to the left. Now, if one's southpaw and the other's orthodox, then they'll line up head to head, and the left favoring fighter will be on the right. And if one giraffe swings, misses, and the momentum puts him out of position, both sides will stop, realign themselves, and go back to swinging. Giraffes run the most gentlemanly fades imaginable. They even believe in weight classes. Researchers noticed that bull giraffes will go out of their way to match up with males as close to the same size, and will reject fights with males noticeably smaller. They dubbed the easy win for a fair fight, because giraffes believe in skill-based matchmaking. Giraffes are also susceptible to the bar fight phenomenon, where if 2 giraffes in a herd start throwing neck, it gets the other giraffes to follow as well. Bull giraffes will sometimes interfere and break up fights between youngerlings, and some say it's the old heads playing referee. Others, myself included, we say it's just straight up hating, and that giraffe OGs will meddle in fights to keep any one male from getting too comfortable and confident. Because you know what they say about giraffes, a cocky male can lead to some big problems. By the way, these rules are for sparring matches. Real deal competitive play has no rules and no belt. Ain't no one saving him. But sparring matches aren't supposed to get superheated, and to prove it, males will often nudge and caress each other after a match because they are physically incapable of shaking hands. It also led to a certain reputation that I'm not going to talk about. Just look up giraffe 90%. But if you didn't think this stretched neck camel leopard could get down like that, you bet giraffe they do.
This entire family was killed by a potato. In 2014, Mikhail Shoshev went down into his cellar to check on a routine supply of stored potatoes, something he had likely done countless times before, but inside that enclosed space, something had changed. The potatoes had begun to decompose, releasing a buildup of toxic gases that filled the cellar silently, without warning. The moment he entered, he collapsed. Above ground, his sudden absence raised concern. One by one, members of his family went down to help him, unaware of what was waiting below. His wife entered first, then his son, and later, their grandmother. Each of them stepped into the invisible danger, and each of them died. What began as a simple check turned into a devastating chain reaction. Each person acting out of instinct to save the one before them, never realizing they were walking into the exact same fate. The only survivor was his 8-year-old daughter Maria, who never entered the cellar. The tragedy is especially unsettling because there were no warning signs, no smell strong enough, no visible threat. Just a family killed in a very unusual way.
Here's some crazy things happening in the world right now. A man was charged in what was referred to as the largest jewelry heist in US history and avoided trial by getting deported. After Nintendo banned an infamous Japanese adult-only Animal Crossing island, the creator said, "Thanks for turning a blind eye for all these years." A new study came out that suggests that women overall on average perceive AI as riskier and are more skeptical of it than men. Scientists copied a fruit fly's brain into a computer, neuron by neuron, with no training data and no machine learning. Someone maybe just open sourced software that sees you through walls using only Wi-Fi signal. A civil war has broken out between two different factions of chimpanzees in Uganda. There's about 200 chimpanzees involved, and researchers have been watching this build up for a decade. The US government recently registered the domain name aliens.gov. There's been a club established at a Costco in Utah where it gives men a safe place to open up and find emotional support. My name's Adorian. Follow me to stay in the loop.
Seeing what's going on in public schools around the United States? Watch this. If you believe that the battle is not against flesh and blood, but against spirits, principalities, and rulers and dominions in the heavenly realms, and you want to be equipped to learn how to fight it, subscribe or follow for more.
Yup, the most urgent warning for teens and children just hit the US, and if you see them on their phone, get them off it immediately or it will be too late. Parents were terrified after they saw their children using what seems to be an innocent filter with a cute bear wearing a Santa hat. But when tapped on, not only was it not innocent at all, but parents are finding their child shaking uncontrollably, and going to the ER will no longer save them. And if this filter finds you, shut your phone off immediately, as this is your warning. Hunting videos show when the bear is tapped on, a video appears showing what adults do at night, completely uncensored, with the majority of the people using the filter as well as watching the filter seemingly not even teens yet. But it gets much worse, as this is not the only one, as heart filters and other seemingly innocent filters that are marketed for children are flooding the internet, with many very young kids warning they should have just stayed curious.
I don't know how it is allowed on a TikTok filter. This used to be a problem in the past, and it appears that, this is becoming a problem once again, where people are just kind of like hiding not family-friendly videos and innocent-looking TikTok filters like this one right here.
As of now, a lot of these filters have been removed.
Something big is happening in South Africa right now. Huge crowds stormed through streets and cities across the country, which some media outlets like Sky News described as a war on foreigners.
It feels like a witch hunt. They keep pointing out people that they think may be foreign and then attacking them. We just saw a man get tasered. on the side of this street.
In fact, African migrant shop owners were warned by police to close down ahead of these anti-illegal immigration protests out of precaution for their safety. So what the hell is going on? Protesters say that foreigners from other African countries are taking away jobs, healthcare, housing, and businesses from the locals.
I'm unemployed. There's no employment. I can't find anything.
Now we are focusing on the illegal foreign nationals.
But it's not only around jobs and the economy. Local media report that earlier this month, a 27-year-old shop owner went missing amid concerns that his alleged refusal to sell his business to foreign nationals may have led to his disappearance. This triggered outrage, and it's caused the illegal immigration issue in the country to reach its boiling point. And now even the United Nations is calling for calm. Critics are calling this a xenophobic movement, while supporters say this isn't about discrimination, but about protecting their country. So, as always, what do you guys think?
What's going on in the world right now? Tokyo has a restaurant of mistaken orders where all of your servers have dementia and you won't know what you're gonna get. This is an effort to redefine how society views dementia, where receiving the wrong order is not a mistake, but part of the intended experience. There's a college course at the University of Victoria in Canada called The Science of Batman. This army general from Uganda demanded $1 billion and a wife from Turkey. The mosquito's general thirst for human blood around the world is increasing while the biodiversity of the earth is worsening. There is a fountain in Italy that is just flowing with red wine 24/7 that you could go to right now. There is a neighborhood in Germany that has not raised their rent in over 500 years. The rent for an entire year in this neighborhood is still less than €1. It was founded in 1521 and is the world's oldest existing social housing complex. There's a bike path in Belgium where you can just cycle in water. The path is submerged in a lake and the water surface is at the cyclist's eye level. My name's Adorian. Follow me to see what's happening in the world tomorrow.
Normal looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. Part 28. This photo shows 23-year-old Tina Tintor hugging her dog Max. One day, after taking Max for a walk, the two were driving home when they were killed in a fiery car crash by a drunk NFL player. This wooden headbox is designed to prevent light, sound, or air from getting inside. In 1970, Colleen Stam was abducted by a serial killer and locked inside it for 7 years. This image shows Marie Joseph taken the day she drowned while swimming in a public pool. However, her body wasn't found for 48 hours, and during this time, people would swim around the pool while she was decomposing at the bottom. This is the last known photo ever taken of comedian Robin Williams. It was captured October 8th, 2014, just one day before he took his own life.
A child abduction was caught on camera in Fairfax County, Virginia. This footage is taken from a mall security camera, and in the footage, we see a 24-year-old man pick up a random child who had walked out from a play area and walk away. Now, the parents, thank God, actually saw him grab the child and immediately ran after him, and they were able to recover their daughter. But, I mean, this is absolutely just so spooky how people just do this. So this is the suspect in that kidnapping. His name is Andres Haldin. And before this, Andres had already faced over 30 different criminal charges. He in the past has been charged with assault and battery of a family member, with malicious wounding, not stopping at the scene of a car accident, which is a felony charge, and so much more. I mean, this guy had over 30 criminal cases in his past against him, and somehow he was still out walking amongst us, walking the streets, free to abduct as many children as he'd like to. Now, thankfully, officers were able to investigate and figure out who this guy was almost immediately. They then swept in, arrested him. Now, I don't believe he's been put on trial yet, so I don't know, what's happening with him or his case. But I'm sure he's going to prison for a long time. I mean, he's got a rap sheet with over 30 previous charges, felonies in there. And he literally handed the prosecution a golden ticket on a golden platter. I mean, he was literally caught in full 4K, extremely high resolution footage, snatching a child up and attempting to steal the child. Now, obviously, anybody who tries to steal a child, I think, has terrible, terrible intentions. And I don't even want to know what this guy was planning to do with this kid if he had gotten off the mall property. And it's just scary. I mean, you can say we need to be vigilant. You always have to keep an eye on your child. But there are going to be moments in every parent's life where you can't have an eye on your child at all moments. where your kid walks away for 5 seconds and is out of your supervision. These things just naturally happen, and it's shocking that there are predators out there who are waiting, who are ready to take advantage of those circumstances at any time that they see them. And they do it. I mean, it's just horrific stuff.
You guys, something so creepy happened to me right now. I'm watching this show on Apple TV. It's called Servant. I just started it, okay? So this couple hires a nanny to watch their baby, but their baby is not real. It's one of those unborn child dolls. Make sure you are not watching this video at night, by the way. I paused the show real quick. I had to do things around the house, and then I opened this app, and look what video pops up.
Well, it looks like real hair. So this doll was bald.
Like it had like really short hair, and now its hair's like really long. Mama.
Yup, she said that the unborn doll that she got from the thrift store is growing hair.
I just want to go over a few things. We got this doll from a thrift store about 2 or 3 years ago. The doll was basically bald, and by bald I mean like, I wouldn't even say it had peach fuzz. I just want to show you that her hair is still growing. Like, what? It's still, like, those are just brand new strands.
Now I'm thinking back to the show, like, is that doll gonna start growing hair? Like, what's gonna happen? Now, I thought this show, The Servant, was like a psychological mystery, but if you mean to tell me that this is a sign that that child doll is gonna start moving, I'm gonna go nuts.
Nope, they never wanted us to see this, as there is a person inside, proving not only the Bible to be real, but everything we've been taught is completely wrong. People were terrified after archaeologists near the Dead Sea found archaeological proof of one of the stories in the Bible, specifically a man named Lot and his family who escaped a town that was being burned by God. And when Lot's wife turned back to see the destruction, it was so hot she turned into a pillar of salt. Archaeologists noticed an eerie human-shaped pillar overlooking what would be the destroyed town, with the pillar being made of 80% salt, fabrics and threads found inside, and traces of collagen and organic material at its center. And when excavators attempted to dig up the alleged destroyed town, they uncovered sulfur only found in extreme heat with no nearby volcanoes and 10 feet pockets of air that were believed to once be homes, with researchers warning the haunting words that they believe they found something they once thought was just a story. Given places like Jericho, Bethlehem, Jerusalem, and many more were found with the destruction the Bible listed before their discoveries, the salt pillar seems all the more likely.
If you ever end up in hell, just do what this man did. There is a man going about his day just like any other when out of nowhere God gave him a vision about hell. And he saw many things, but there was one thing in particular that he said he would never forget. And what it was will shock you. The man said he saw ugly, nasty, disgusting demons everywhere. If you want to ensure that you never have to go to hell, go watch the video I pinned in the comments.
I have a question for people in England. What the hell is wrong with y'all? Why did y'all invent Mr. Blobby? This thing is horrific. I have found my new sleep paralysis demon. This thing looks like the Teletubbies took some really strong mushrooms and had a baby with Barney. Did I mention he has his own segment of an abandoned theme park somewhere in England called Dunblobbin? It's actually somewhere called Crinkly Bottom. I have no idea what I'm talking about. This thing is so disturbing. I do not like this house. Like, he's just supposed to be this thing for kids, but people have drawn him in the most horrific ways because this thing is supposed to give off fear vibes. I'm sorry. He looks like a creepypasta character. Why would you put this on TV for children? What children are interested in this thing? This is what his house looks like, by the way, which is the most liminal grandma house core terror I think I've ever seen in my life. And his house has pimples on it. The abandoned Mr. Blobby house is super freaking creepy to me. Everything about Mr. Blobby, I do not like it. Why would y'all create such a horrible thing? I know all of y'all didn't do it, but I need to know who did because we're gonna fight.
David has a leaked song called Celeste that just resurfaced. If you don't know, the girl found in David's Tesla was named Celeste. It's never been more over for this man. So back in 2023, David apparently had a song called Celeste that was never officially released. You can look this up if you want to hear it yourself. On the song, David was of course singing about a girl named Celeste. At this point, I don't think that there is any way that David is actually innocent.
Which of these facts is the hardest to believe? The world now has more people over 65 than under 5 for the first time in history. The 17th president of Liberia, Charles King, won the election with 234,000 votes in a country that had just 15,000 registered voters. People who walk faster than average tend to live longer. Walking can also boost creative output by an average of 60% compared to sitting. A blathescite is a noun that describes a person who talks a lot of nonsense. A source from Apple said they are going back to including phone chargers in the box of every new iPhone. This news came out just a few hours after CEO Tim Cook said he was stepping down. Your keyboard knows whether you use an iPhone or an Android. Type "my phone is an" and let your keyboard finish the sentence. Getting less than 7 hours of sleep each night can reduce your life expectancy. People born in October are more likely to live to 100 years than people born in March. For more.
Yep, women are being ripped from the inside out, and millions are randomly getting infected with this after just having their period, and there's no cure. Women were terrified after this deadly condition had already spread to 200 million women, all suddenly in deep, crippling pain in their stomach area, with many of these women suddenly bleeding internally, having internal tears, and brown mysterious lumps all at once just from having their normal period. A video shows one TikToker showing her stomach from the side swollen so much from this, saying she is not pregnant, and if you start to notice this, go to the ER immediately or you won't survive. Doctors warn if this isn't treated, it can lead to ectopic pregnancies, which are non-living pregnancies formed outside the uterus, spreads fast, is all over the stomach area, causes ruptures, and is 100% fatal, and also isn't easy to detect. The disease remains almost undetectable, with sometimes taking up to a whopping 10 years even with testing before it can be found, and sometimes at that point it's too late. Known as endometriosis, right now there is no cure, but there are treatments and surgery is recommended to help fix this.
What's going on around the world right now? Lightning struck at the exact moment when this woman accepted her boyfriend's marriage proposal. In Norway, you can look up anyone's tax return. It's public, like even your boss. In Japan, if someone turns in your wallet, you actually owe them a reward by law. In the Netherlands, you can demand to work remotely, and your bosses have to legally give a good reason to say no. Parents in Sweden get 480 days of paid maternity leave per child. The law in Germany says if your train is over an hour late, you have to get a refund. Nature in Ecuador has legal rights, meaning the citizens can actually sue to protect rivers and forests. Japan's last 2 giant pandas in the country were just moved to China recently. China loans pandas out to its allies like Japan, but will take them back after a while. Maybe they're not very happy with the country, and people in Japan are sad that there are no more pandas. A photographer recently captured this video of 2 ginormous bears just fighting each other. My name's Adorian. Follow me to see what's happening in the world tomorrow.
Oh! Look, Charlie, right here. Grabbing a rose. Okay. We're dancing a little bit. Oh. Yeah, you're on him, bro. Give him the rose. Oh. God. I'm twerking on him. No.
So that footage is obviously disturbing in hindsight. If you don't know who that is a video of Haley Beck, a notorious teacher who was fired from her position as a teacher for grooming and allegedly raping/molesting a teenage student of hers for an extended period of time. Now, I want to remind everybody online that there were actually 2 teachers at the same school that have now been credibly accused of molesting the same teenage student. There was 47-year-old Angela Berlacca and also Haley Beck. Now, I'm going to do a whole series on this because the actual transcripts and the chats and the texts between Haley and the victim are abhorrent and graphic, vulgar, and disgusting. But there are still so many questions that people have in this case. And for me, one of the biggest questions is, why are these 2 still out walking amongst us? It's very clear in the chats and the logs that these two were both targeting, grooming, and molesting a child, and yet they haven't been arrested. So if someone could make that make sense to me, that would be great.
This, but yeah, this is actually happening. This is all the good news from today in 60 seconds. You know how painful it is waiting for your battery to charge on your phone? Well, there's new battery technologies being invented by companies that could fully charge your phone from dead in under 5 minutes. And no, it's not going to be a massive power bank. It uses advanced materials that can handle higher energy flow without even overheating, meaning your phone could charge quicker than it takes you to make a coffee. And this could then be rolled out to all the major phone providers. Please, because I need it. The ozone layer, which protects Earth from harmful radiation, as we all know, reportedly is now healing much faster than expected originally, only down to bans on certain chemicals worldwide. Scientists even say if this continues, it could fully recover in the next few decades, potentially even still in your lifetime. This is crazy and something we don't think about. Global data recently has actually shown that extreme poverty has steadily declined over the last few years, with millions and millions of more people now gaining access to better living conditions and basic human conditions. Healthcare and education has become a lot bigger, and this is reportedly one of the biggest long-term improvements in human history. There is new devices being made by scientists that can pull clean drinking water from thin air. Can they pull money from thin air? That would be nice. Even in dry climates, apparently. How? They're using advanced filters and condensation systems that are being built and spending a lot of money on it, but it is actually working. They're managing to get water basically from the atmosphere, and this could mean areas with little water around the world can become self-sufficient, and everybody can have water. Make sure to hit the follow button. I'll keep you posted.
I'm back to traumatize you by talking about the Queen Mary propeller again. How much money would they need to pay you to jump in the pool with the Queen Mary propeller? By the way, today is my birthday, and if you stay until the end of this video, you get a piece of my birthday cake. If you don't know what the Queen Mary propeller is, God, I wish that were me. It is a giant propeller that was on the Queen Mary ship, which was a ship used in World War II. It was damaged and docked, and here is the Queen Mary propeller sunk in that water like that. My submechanophobia is quivering. Could you ever be on the observation deck looking down at this? This thing is massive, by the way. This is what it looks like outside of water. Look how huge it is. This wartime ship, when it went down, some people actually went into the propeller, this exact propeller, and it caused the demise of a bunch of people. So that ship is said to be very, very haunted. The Queen Mary Hotel is actually somewhere you can stay. Multiple paranormal investigators have said it's the most haunted place that they have ever been. People like to throw money in there in that little pool area, which, by the way, this is the actual propeller and it is still attached to the ship, but they have it in this like little closed off indoor pool area. People like to throw money in there for some reason. So when that happens, they have to have a cleaner come in and do it. And here is a scuba diver that there's a kitty. There's a scuba diver that has to jump in there to clean it. Could you ever, how much would they have to pay you, seriously, to do this job of being the scuba diver that has to jump in that pool to clean off the propeller? Oh my God, that thing is huge. Keep in mind also, if you were to fall down here, this area of the Queen Mary Hotel is extremely difficult to find, apparently. And a lot of people actually don't come in this area. So if you were to fall in that water, there would be absolutely no way to get you out. And even your screams, people would not be able to hear you. If this video or this photo in particular bothers you, you have something called submechanophobia, which is the fear of things underwater that were man-made. And if you are interested in being scared by things like this, give me a follow because I talk about these things all the time. They used to have this fake scuba diver that was always in that pit on top of it to show the scale, but it was scaring too many people. Look at little bro. Could never be me. One place you'll never see me is in this room. Unless y'all really, really want me to. And then I will go to California and take a video in this area and I will cry and it'll be entertaining for y'all. Yay. Let me know how we're feeling, y'all. And is this scary or not? Am I being dramatic or not? Every single year on my birthday, I talk about this thing. So if you stayed to the end of the video, you now get a piece of my birthday cake. I love you.